afternoon, guys. It's your main man, Coach Richie Rich, Coach Babs, and welcome to the Think Strong, Be Strong channel. If it's your first time here, please hit the like and subscribe button, and also hit the notifications bell as well, just so you know when a new video is jumping out. Try to make sure I do a video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So today is Wednesday, so it's time to break it down. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to it, shall we? Welcome back, guys. So I have titled this conversation Outrunning Your Destiny. Yeah, or you can't outrun your destiny. Now, before I get into that, I want to tell you a story that was told to me recently, and it ties into what we're talking about right now. So I was told that when I was younger, when I was born, I would speak out to people. I would lead. Do you understand? I would be I'd be like a mentor, and I'd talk to people and encourage them to move from one point to another point. And if anybody kind of slipped back or felt like they'd fall backwards, then I'd bring them forward, basically. And this is what was said when I was younger. And it's funny because I've always been an introvert. I really have been an introvert, believe it or not. And I studied computer science, I studied IT, so what I studied isn't necessarily what I'm doing. And I've always been shy from public speaking or talking out, believe it or not. So, but I didn't have a problem in group work. If it was a group presentation, I was all good. But if it's a sit down and tell me about yourself situation, I get lost for words, or I get nervous, or such and such. So anyway, I'm raised in a Christian family. We used to go to church a lot. I used to go to church with my parents a lot when I was living in London. And I remember people used to say to me, you're going to preach, and you're going to talk to the masses. And I would be like, no, not happening. Especially when you see all these preachers, they live their life church. I'm not living that life. Like, I've spent all my time with my family going to church on different days of the week. Like, we didn't play Sunday football like other people did. There were certain activities that we couldn't do because it conflicted with church and our lifestyle at the time. So I looked at that and I was like, I'm not doing that. And somebody said to me, you never know, man, that could be destiny. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. And I made it a point to deliberately do things that were not in the area of what I was told would be something that I would do in the future. I just made a point. Like, I lived a lifestyle where it was like, how could you be religious when you're doing certain things? Do you know what I mean? I made it a point to not go to such events. I just didn't do it. But however, if it was in my work life or my academic life, anything that required teamwork and presentation, I'd be the nervous one, but then as soon as it gets going, I'd be the first one with the presentation. And I'd help other people in my team, elaborate on what they're saying, because you can tell when people are nervous when talking. And the question was always asked, how do you know how to do this? How are you so good at this? Yeah, how do you know how to do this? Why are you so good at this? And I used to just shrug my shoulders and say, oh no, we're just doing it. We've researched it. We're just doing it. I'm winging it. Or my favorite phrase is, I'm freestyling it. Do you know what I mean? And that was always the case, and even through adult life, again, similar situations, like going to an interview and present yourself in an interview, or I'd have certain interviews where they'll say, right, I need you to go away, research the company and come back and do a presentation on it. Do you know what I mean? And I'd go away and I'd do it. and then I'd talk about it and deliver the info. And half the time I didn't even know what I was talking about. Do you understand? Sometimes I would have just, don't tell anybody. I would have just reviewed it, revised it the night before. But I'll deliver the information in such a way I was told that I've done this before, or I've been here before, or I've studied it over and over, before coming in. And not knowing that, did it on the bus on the way in. Bullet points, the points I want to talk about, and then just bang it out like that. You know what I mean? Elaborate and thicken it out and things like that. And again, I didn't really see much of it. I just thought, I'm lucky. And then I think when I was working in recruitment, and part of recruitment is, you find the right candidate, the right fit, then you have a conversation with them, and then when they want to be interviewed, you bring them in, you talk to them, you check out how they're dressed, you make sure they're okay with it, you get them to run it through you how they're gonna approach the interview, and then anything that you could do to help, you help, and you tweak, you understand. And I remember this one guy who just, lovely guy, but this was probably his first job entering the UK, you understand, and he just needed help from down to the way he dressed for an interview to the way he spoke. Like, he had the know-how, he had the skills that was required on paper. He just didn't know how to deliver or present himself in a way to let the other people take him seriously or consider him on, And I just remember sitting down with him and telling him where to go get the shoes, where to go get his suit, what kind of suit to get, what kind of shoes to wear. Make sure it's neat. It doesn't have to be bold and too much in your face. Look like dressed the part, basically. How are you going to talk? How are you going to deliver the information? If they ask you this, what examples are you going to give? I just broke it down for him. And we went backwards and forwards a few times, testing it out and everything until he felt confident. Then he went in and he got the job. And I was really proud of him because, he's done this. And I remember him saying, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have got this. And I didn't really think much of it because I just said, no, it's not me. It's you. I just helped you know how to tell them what I've seen already. Do you know what I mean? So moving forward now, probably last year or the year before last, so when I went down to London, I remember I bumped into an uncle and he was saying a similar thing where he was like, you'll talk to people, you'll preach and blah, blah, blah. And, people will follow you, people will listen to you. And, you're gonna reach out to a lot of people. And I hear the word preach, and because we're in a church environment, I was like, I'm not going to stand in the pulpit and preach. Like, I'm telling you now, I'm not going to do that. And it was like, it may not be here. It might be somewhere else. It might be something else. But it might not be where you think it is. But all I could hear in my head is preach. That's all I could hear. And I'm like, I'm not preaching to anybody. I'm not on that level. I don't know what you guys know. You understand? So clairvoyant said a similar thing. She's like, I see you talking to loads of people, encouraging people, training people, motivating people, inspiring people, and moving the masses. And then it wasn't until I dreamt myself, seeing myself shaking hands with people, like at an airport or in places, and they're like, can you come and talk here? Can you come and talk there? We want to hear you talk about this. I need you to get my people to be here, And then when my dad's saying the thing that he said to me just last weekend, about what was said to me as a child, before I was born, all clicking together. And this is where I'm going with this. See, sometimes in life, your destiny is going to be something particular, maybe something that you dread, something that you're afraid to do, something that you don't feel you have the confidence to do, or something that feels larger than who you are. No matter how hard you try, you cannot outrun it. What I'm doing right now with the YouTube videos, with the podcast, and just talking and sharing experiences, sharing ideas, sharing thoughts, is the same thing as when they said to me, you'll be preaching to the masses. The masses in this situation it's YouTube. How many people go on YouTube? How many people will come across your video? Do you know what I mean? A lot. The masses. Do you understand? Like, I'm doing the thing that I said I won't be doing. And I just took the term preaching and I labeled preaching to being in a church or being in a religious environment. But it's not necessarily that, because all it is talking and sharing what you know outside for other people to listen to, follow if they want to, acknowledge if they want to, but at least hear it. Do you understand? And this was told from birth. And the thing is, I've said I've never had the confidence because I'm an introvert. Do you understand? But it turns out everything that I've been doing along the way has been preparing me to this point. The group presentations, the recruitment consultancy jobs, the presentations for interviews, the little IGTVs and stuff that I've done before, the sharing and encouraging people. Like, I coach people on a fitness level when I'm not here. That's still guiding them to get them to achieve what they want to achieve. You know, I'm a dad to two children, so when I talk to them and I advise them, it's the same thing. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that I was trying to outrun my destiny is about as easy as trying to dodge the rain when it's coming down. You can't dodge the rain. It's going to get you. And that's like your destiny. If somebody tells you they see you doing this, especially somebody who doesn't even know you, tells you that they can see in the future you're going to be this or you're going to be that, and it sounds like it's something too big or something too much for you to handle, or something that you don't feel like you have the expertise or the knowledge or the experience, or you trying to compare yourself to people who are already out there doing this thing that seems like a mountain to you. I promise you, you've probably been preparing for this for such a long time, and you've just not realized until you started to, take a leap of faith and put it into practice. You won't know until you do. But the thing is, whether you like it or not, your destiny will catch up to you. So you kind of have two choices. You can kind of embrace it like I'm doing and just run with it and just give it what you got and have faith that it will all fall into place. Or you can let it embrace you and catch you off guard. And then before you realize it, you got no choice but to try and catch up with it and go after it and do it, because you can't outrun it. I mean, I'm 37 now, and I started this at 36. So it's been about a year. Do you know what I mean? I started this about 36 years. So it's been about a year. And in a year, we have progressed from podcasts, just hearing the voice, speaking to people without a face, to IG stories, nervous IG stories, to coaching people in real life, to Zoom calls with groups of people just talking backwards and forwards, to IG channels, IGTV, now to YouTube, where don't get me wrong, social media stretches, but YouTube, to me, I feel like it's like Mr. Tickle from the Mr. Men. It stretches a whole lot further because everybody and anybody can come across it. Like on social media, you can block and only let specific people see it. You understand? On YouTube, you taking a real leap of faith that it's going out to more than just your immediate circle. You may share it to your immediate circle, but like you already know, if you click on one video on YouTube, another video that's similar to it will pop up and pop up and pop up. So there's a possibility that one of my videos will pop up on a similar type of video that somebody else who I don't know is watching. You understand? And that's how you're stretching to the masses. So I thought I could outrun my destiny. I thought I could outrun what people had foreseen before I was even born. Turns out you can't outrun your destiny. Doesn't matter what you study. It doesn't matter what path you decide to go off onto. If you're meant to be somewhere else doing something else, believe that everything you've been doing over here is preparing you for over there. I think that's why you hear some of the greatest stories, especially the religious stories or other stories of other people where they started here and then all of a sudden they became this person in somewhere completely different from what they were doing before, something completely different from what other people know them to be. Because at some point, either they heard what their destiny was and they thought, I'm going to embrace it, or their destiny caught up with them and embraced them and threw them into it. You understand? And they're just like me, they're just picking it up as they go along and learning on the spot, like on the job training, and realizing that certain things that they have been doing along their life, not knowing, has prepared them for where they are. I think that's where you get the phrase, you're where you are doing what you're meant to be doing at the time you're meant to be doing it. That's where it comes from. And then the beautiful thing about it is when you embrace your destiny, or when you're doing something that makes you feel peaceful, excited, inspired, motivated, and driven to do, then you are in the place that you're supposed to be, which means you're living your destiny. You're making history. And yeah, you may see a lot of other people doing similar things, you understand, which can sometimes be like, well, how can this be my destiny? Because then everybody's on the same destiny. Not necessarily, because the impact you have in someone's life will never be the same as the impact the other person doing the same thing you're doing has in that same person's life. You know, that, the saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. A lot of people can say the same thing over and over, but if you say it in a different way, you may have a different impact on that person than the other one. Do you understand? So because your destiny may look the same as somebody else because they're doing something similar, remember they're not doing it in the way you're doing it, which means it's still your destiny to do it. You're just going to deliver it the way you've been gifted to deliver it, the way you see the world, the way you perceive certain things, the way you understand certain things, the way you do certain things, or the way you do the same thing, or the way you perceive the same thing. The way you process and articulate it is what makes it unique, which means, okay, you know what, we've got a lot of people doing it this way, but we need something brand new, we need something fresh. So this is also this person's destiny to be on that path, but the way they do it is gonna switch it up. It's gonna change everything. It's gonna revolutionize the way it works already. Understand? Because every time you walk into something new in your life, you're revolutionizing it. Even if everybody else is doing similar things and it's your destiny to be there too, you are revolutionizing the thing. You're coming in like a breath of fresh air, or you're coming in like a wrecking ball to make some huge changes, switch it up the way, switch it up from the way it's been. You see where I'm coming from? So, so I don't go off on another wild one. You cannot escape your destiny. If somebody tells you this is your destiny, or if a voice inside your mind says you're meant to be doing this, if you're doing something else, and especially if you're not feeling fulfilled in it, might as well try and embrace your destiny. But if you don't feel like embracing your destiny, don't worry about it. Eventually your destiny will catch up to you and it will embrace you. Either at 20 something, at 30 something, at 40 something, or at 50 something. As long as you're still breathing, as long as you're still alive, your destiny is still alive and your destiny is waiting for you. And after a while, your destiny will be like, yo, you're taking too long. Hey, let me catch up to you. Let me catch up to you and put you in the place where you need to be, doing what you're meant to be doing at the time you're meant to be doing it. I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation. If you have, please leave a comment in the box below. Okay? Like I always say, live your life one step, one rep at a time. Think strong, be strong. And remember, impossible is nothing. Take it easy, guys. Peace.